is up, sexy people? It is Dave, it is Duncan, back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new release from Pennsylvania progressive death metal unit Rivers of Nihil. The band's new self-titled album...
Self-titled, Dave, because you know it's important.
Oh yeah, will be released on May 30th via Metal Blade Records. 16 years and 5 albums into the Pennsylvania band's career, progressive death metal band Rivers of Nihil are upping the ante with their self-titled album. Traditionally, a self-titled record can signal a return to basics and or a fresh beginning. And in 10 powerful songs, it's clear that both factors are in play. Founding bassist Adam Biggs became the band's new lead vocalist / bassist in 2023. The same year marked the appearance of additional guitarist Andy Thomas of Black Crown Initiate, whose vocals also play prominently on Rivers of Nihil. Rivers of Nihil was created in a very rock and roll manner. On 2021's The Work, I wrote a lot of the record on the piano, and then the band filled in the gaps. But on this record, I wanted to make sure that this stuff would hit hard live, with just the 4 of us before adding in all the sparkly auxiliary frosting on top. Rivers of Nihil also showcases additional musicians, including Patrick Corona on alto saxophone, Stefan Lopez on banjo, and Grant McFarland on cello, and a slate of other guest vocalists. The album was produced, engineered, mixed, and mastered by Carson Slovak and Grant McFarland at Atrium Audio. I'm pretty sure they did the last album as well. Yeah, it's been 4 years since The Work, which was reviewed on this channel. And since then, we have also managed to see the band live.
Oh my God, did we see them live? I was floored by how much not because I've never... It's one of these bands that I came very late into the day on, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been there from I was there before everyone listened to them. Classic fucking hipster Dave again, right? But I came into them relatively late, right? And my thought was always, right, we'll see how this plays live. Turns out when you see this live, it's fucking incredible. As one of the, like, because they were on that bill with, but they were...
It was the Cannibal Corpse one,
Cannibal Corpse bill. And, I don't know is it safe to say I preferred them at Cannibal? I love Cannibal Corpse, but I thought Rivers of Nihil were fucking absolutely stone cold, fucking amazing live. Like, such a captivating band to look at, and tight as fuck. Yeah. Like military tight, considering what it is they're doing live. So I was sold in, but they'd obviously had the shift with the bassist becoming the vocalist at that point as well. Yeah. So the question was going to be, well, hell, this went live. And once again, saw it, and I was like that. Yeah, this totally works. Like, yeah. I will shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I'll have a Coke and a smile.
Yeah,
that's what I'll do.
Yeah. I was the same. I was kind of intrigued to see, like, what would happen with the new lineup, the reshuffle, and obviously Andy coming in from Black Crown Initiate as well, which was all that was in the back of my mind, because I was thinking he did a hell of a lot in Black Crown Initiate, so I was interested to hear what he would bring to this. At the same time, though, I almost kind of feel sorry for this band, because they've somehow got to outdo what they've done before. And, you know, what they've done in the past, I would consider, like, the last 2 albums, 2 of the best progressive death metal albums we had in the last 7 years since they came out. Where Owls Know My Name is an incredible album, just like top tier songwriting and musicianship. And The Work, you know, some people didn't think it reached the heights of Owls, but I disagree. I thought it matched the quality of it in every way, but was also more ambitious than what they'd done on Owls. So yeah, was excited to check this one out. The self-titled album, 10 tracks, about 52 minutes, which is a little shorter than the previous 2 albums. The Work was like over an hour long, but even though this is a shorter album, you're still going to need to set some time aside for this, just to sit in the depths of this album and just immerse yourself in it.
Fuck! This was...
I mean, as the press release said, this is a self-titled album, in the sense that they are pulling motifs and elements from the kind of whole Rivers of Nihil back catalogue, and you can, like, if you listen to this, you can track it right back. I spent a lot of time looking like that, the Leonardo DiCaprio Once Upon a Time in Hollywood meme, when he sits up in his armchair and points at stuff. Yeah, that was just like, I was constantly,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
where I thought you were going. I thought you were going with the Always Sunny Red Web, where you had all the album artworks and all the
Also
song
would
lists. You
work,
were just literally dragging red webs. You can hear from here they got to here, Duncan, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like, there was just all the way through this, like, there was moments where, that could be a nod to Monarchy or the Conscious Seed of Light, or where they're getting more kind of brutally technical in places. If you go back to tracks like Dehydrate from Monarchy, which has these like rapid blasts, really intricate guitar work, or even Rain Eater from like Conscious Seed of Light, which is also savage as fuck. This album has like that level of ferocity, but it's like 100 times tighter than those albums. You also get moments where they're bringing the sound much more into recent times, and that more experimental side of Owls, or the work starts to kind of shine through, where the style gets a touch more modern, and more refined, and they bring in also those additional instruments to kind of heighten the experience. But even though they are referencing those like time periods of the band and giving you those little moments of nostalgia, it's done with a very Rivers of Nile 2025 zeal. Like, these songs are firstly leaner. They are stripped of a lot of the more kind of wandering moments of the previous album. But that's not to say they don't get expansive on this album, but it feels more controlled. These songs are shaped to give you a very tight and focused version of Rivers of Nile. For me, that it feels much more hook laden, and as a result, more memorable. There are so many melodies that will just instantly get stuck in your head. Whereas like an album like The Work, you had to spend, that a bit of time with it for it to fully kind of sink in.
It was like a third or fourth day album before it allowed you to get your hand in its pants. So.
Yeah, thanks for that. This time, they aren't fucking around at all. Like, no. This album is like there's no real intros, or like we're not building up.
The first song opens with a hook.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, with pleasing, glorious melody. So
there's no like gently easing you into this album. It gets moving from this first few seconds of track one, and pretty much like right from the get-go, I was just like in like the fluidity and the kind of dexterity on these tracks is just something else. Like, this band, I didn't think this band could get any tighter. Like, if I went back and listened to The Work, which is an immaculate sounding album, this is like they've just leveled it up again. Like, the precision on this album just fucking cuts you, like, in every way. Like, the
fucking dangerous weapon.
The first few bars of like Dustman is like, it's like something from like a Fear Factory album. Like, the guitar work and the drumming is so like machine gun tight, and it's so like synced up at the start of that track. The bass playing, which is a constant theme on tonight's reviews we're doing, is just absolutely insane.
Bass playing and bass production.
Yeah. For
something to be so intricate and so layered, to still cut through that with presence and personality is just fuck's sake.
And you can, like, when we saw them live, he was doing a lot of kind of, wild kind of runs and getting really busy in places on bass, and which was great. But I mean, sometimes those little moments don't always translate in a live environment.
No.
Not the way it does here, where the production is absolutely spotless and so detailed. You can hear every single thing he's playing. Not only that, but he's now the lead vocalist of the band,
which once again doesn't make sense and is also unfair.
Yeah,
pick a lane. That's what I'm
God's
saying.
Sake.
One or the other.
Like, if this was your first venture into a Rivers of Nile album, you would not know this is this guy's first album as vocalist. Like, absolutely not. And I know he's done backing vocals in the past, but like, this is a different. Yeah, this is a
big jump,
yeah.
Especially in concentration. It's a big jump.
Sure, yeah. These are full songs, you know, writing lyrics, planning how you're going to weave in all those different ranges and tones, but also when to like cut back and let the band explore on their own and not overdo it vocally. I think he's done an absolutely brilliant job. His vocal tone is so like gutsy on this album. He has a bit more of a bark than Jake Diffenbach, who's the previous vocalist. But his delivery is just absolutely spot on, and works fantastically on this release. Also, we've now obviously got fully fledged clean vocals on this album.
Oh yes. Boy, do we ever!
Oh, aye.
And it's not like let's ease them in gently.
No, we got like a tiny little bit of clean on the work.
Yeah.
But you know, Andy wasn't in the band then, so it was obviously a different member. Tracks like Wait or Tower 2 had this like subtle kind of, didn't go into like crazy high registers or big melodies, but it was just like a little bit of atmospheric kind of vocal. Here though, they are quite the opposite. There is,
You know what's kind of cool though? Like, how many bands get a new member in, and that new member comes in and basically becomes a replacement for the old member and doesn't necessarily utilize the skills that they bring. Like, there's a reason we were so high on Big Rutan as the man joining Cannibal Corpse proper, is that like you could hear the change, the sea change in their sound, because they had like a bit of youth, a bit of like urgency, and a bit of someone challenging them. That's what we have here. Like, if you can sing, fucking sing.
There's nothing subtle about these cleans, and that's down to Andy Thomas, who has come into the band, doing the clean vocal parts. If you're familiar with Black Crown Initiate, you'll know this guy can sing the phone book and make it sound amazing.
There's a bit, I think it's in track 3 Criminals, where he's singing his chorus like hook thing, and the note he's singing like transforms into a guitar solo. Like it's one of the coolest fucking things ever. It's like the pitch and everything just kind of, it feeds right into this guitar solo, and I'm like, oh my god, just like shag me. Like honestly.
But it just takes this band's sound to that next level. It's a big part of the self-titled album, and he sounds incredible on this release. We may have actually made a joke on our review of, I think it was Violent Portraits by Black Crown Initiate. We were like, oh yeah, Andy the vocalist, a little bit of a resemblance to Stephen Richards of Taproot, which I'm pretty sure he disagreed with. But I can still hear it.
I can still hear it, man. I can still hear it.
And
he can still disagree. I don't care.
It's not a bad thing. Like,
no, he's a great fucking singer.
He's a very.
It's not as if we said Chad Kroeger from Nickelback. We're saying like someone that can actually sing.
And he's got quite a vocal, like a unique vocal style. So it's very much like it's a compliment. But the array of vocal kind of delights on this album is just unreal. It is just a plethora of amazing vocals. It has it all. It's just so incredibly versatile. There's even moments where I was getting like a little bit of like a kind of Between the Buried and Me kind of sound coming through, and that's another band that has like vocal chops for days. But the title track, Despair Church was the other one. There's like a similar kind of like vocal characteristic that was reminding me of that band. But it's so well balanced, so well thought out. Those clean parts, although they're on the album right through, they never oversaturate either. There are tracks where the cleans are more kind of minimal, and it's just very brutal and relentless the whole way through. American Death has like a couple of clean lines, but the rest is fucking savage. And then there's even like a wee, what you would class as like a breakdown in that track. When I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, fucker, that's like, it wouldn't be out of place on like a Whitechapel album or something like that. Like, it kind of comes out of nowhere, but really cool to hear them doing that. I mean, and I've spoken about all that, but I haven't even mentioned the additional instrumentation, Duncan. And we need to start off with, we need to mention the sax, obviously. We need to,
which they hold out until Despair Church, and then once the seal is, like, when you've been out for many beers, right? You know where I'm going with this. You go out, you have a few beers, and you are like, you're engaged, you're having great conversation. You go for that first piss, and you broke the seal, which means that basically the trade-off is for every pint you're peeing twice, right? That's the trade-off, right? For every extra order you're going to, like, that's River and El, and then like that. We're going to hold off, and then on the Spear Church right at the end, we're going to tickle your taint with a little bit of sax. You're going to like it, and then from that point, we're like that. Oh, we're not sparing it now. Like, get ready, and it's going to be on a lot more, and it's going to be a lot earlier, and I love every fucking second. What a time to be alive! Like, if you had told me 15 years ago, saxophone is like legitimately, like, everyone knows this in these days, and musicians, one of my favourite instruments. I love the sound. I just love the sound of saxophone. Had you told me 15 years ago that, you know, in 2025 you're going to be spoiled for choice by the amount of metal bands that just have incredible saxophone playing in it. Saxophonists are like, what a time to be a saxophonist at the moment.
Dude, I really should have learned sax instead of drums. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, it's so much sexier. Like, so much sexier. It's such
a sexy instrument, but it's so versatile because it's all over a lot of metal stuff just now. And guess what? It just makes the metal stuff sound fucking better. Dude, the playing on this is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, like, what a really intelligent kind of addition to the album, and a very clever layer of atmosphere and mood that Patrick adds to the album. The tone of it just melts, like, all over this release in such a brilliant way.
It's a choice of choosing the alto as well, as opposed to like a baritone. Like really, it almost takes at times the point of like a lead guitar. It's really, really, really smart, and it, like, to me, once again shows like you can, as death metal, fucking dumb, it's noise and all the rest. But the composition on this album is absolutely fucking impeccable, start to finish.
Yeah. I mean, and then you've got like banjo from Stephen Lopez on the closing track, and cello from Grant McFarland, who produced the album. You're absolutely spoiled with instrumentation.
Yeah, at the Spear Church they have, like, it's like a quasi, like, church choir.
Yeah.
like that appears just before the saxophone, as if you're like, oh, listen to that element. It's like, you're like, what am I doing?
And then like tracks like Water and Time fully embraces the synths as well, and like,
why not?
What a fucking track! It sounds huge. Like, could be one of the biggest choruses they've delivered, you know, in their entire career. Like, it's just ridiculous. There's so many things going on in this album, and so many positive things you could say about this album. I feel like I'd need like a 3-hour video to fit this, like, fit it all in. And I would totally do that if I thought anyone would watch it, but it's highly unlikely.
There's some weirdos on the internet that'll watch a 3-hour video breaking down, and I think the cello in this track signifies Zeus. Like, here is my 17-point breakdown with PowerPoint presentation that'll explain how I got to my assumption.
Yeah, it's this album is incredible. Like, I could try and pick like my highlights, or like give you pointers on like the highlights of the album, but to be honest, the whole album is just one giant highlight. This is one of the best progressive death metal albums I've heard, not only in 2025 but probably 2024 as well, to be honest. Like, this is top tier in terms of this genre. It's ridiculously good, and like, that's not even talking about how good the drumming and stuff like that is. Like, the playing is just absolutely nuts. Jared Klein is an absolute beast behind the kit, and what he brings to this album is just incredible. Like, his playing is so fucking good. I mean, I could just keep going on about how amazing this is, but I realise we're almost 20 minutes into this. So production as well, final thing, production is stunning. Like, this is just Duncan, what do you think?
I mean, this review is like, it's like your fourth wank back to back. There's nothing coming out of me now that hasn't already come out. Thanks, Dave. This is just like a puff of air. So, like, I feel like invigorated about this album, mostly because I haven't had a chance to, on Metal Epidemic, chat about. Like, I, for whatever reason, wasn't on the previous one.
The last one,
I'm going to assume illness, other commitments, masturbation. Could be any of the above, or all at the same time. Prison time is what it was, Dave. And the clink.
Getting bummed.
No, prison time. What we're doing here.
Who said that?
Listen, you. But like, so I wasn't there, but like, I obviously everything that we did back then was passed around us to listen to anyway.
Yeah.
And I do remember the review, and I do remember 5s being handed out.
There was. Yeah.
And I do believe that I didn't disagree with that. And I thought the last album, but my had I been on that review, the thing with me is, but how does it work live? And now I know how it works live, so that nulled that point. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Like, you're saying, like, 2025, 2024. I'm going to say, as progressive death metal albums go, I think this is a masterclass from start to finish. I genuinely think this is like a new standard. I think not only in songwriting and delivery, but I think the fact that they have unabashedly, like, embraced the melody.
Yeah.
And the vocals gives it that an edge over a lot of progressive death metal bands that feel that that's the element that gets them classed as selling out. You know, like, we can't do that, or they don't have anyone in the more realistically don't have anyone in the band that can do it. But they do, and can only do it. Does it fucking incredible. You listen to a track like House of Light, and that song opens so huge, and you're getting already like melody, and then like you're getting background melody and huge synths and saxophone in the first 15 fucking seconds, right? Yeah, like I can't really add anything, but I genuinely think the flow of the album is impeccable. I think the songwriting on this album is impeccable. I think the musicianship is absolutely top tier. It is, like you said, it like machine, like I think you said that it was Fear Factory type.
Yeah, that's what
which, like, it's fair to say, but it doesn't. It's not. No shots fired here. It's not as soulless as a Fear Factory production. This feels like vibrant, and it feels like it's engaging, and it's full of life, and it just wants to pull you in. Vocally, this is absolutely savage. Like, I love his tone. I think his tone, like you were talking about the bark that it has as well, but this to me is classic death metal vocal. You know what I mean? It's like it sits in that kind of middle to lower register with shades of the higher register, but it doesn't need to go beyond that. It never really trips into the blackened territory that a lot of death metal vocalists feel they kind of have to. I'm not against, but they feel they kind of need to do or pay homage to. We need to have at least one blackened screamer. It's not a real death metal album. This doesn't do that, and nor does it need to. You have that higher register being completely taken care of by the melody on this one, of which it's not just hooks, Dave. It's pristine vocals that, as someone that did vocals many years ago, like, and appreciates good melody, even if it's not something which is like the earworm, like, because not every melody here is on a chorus. It's just it's utilized somewhere between the perfect element to make this work, an actual instrument to add texture, and the hook, and they position it really interesting ways. The use of instrumentation here, saxophones, absolutely incredible. The recording on it as well, the production of the sax is, what we're doing here, right? It's so fucking good. But then on top of that as well, the synths. I talk about this all the time as a synth player. It's so easy to over-egg that and just do a little bit too much of it, or make it too... The precision of everything on this is absolutely clean and meticulous all the way through. And as a result of that, you get an album which, might be a little bit shorter than the other ones, but isn't really missing a beat.
No.
And the kind of the nature of how they've stripped out and focused the tracks, I think, actually delivers some of the best solos in the band's career, some of the most technical work you've heard the band do to date. And you mentioned it before, like the bass work is, and they give hints every now and again where it's just bass and the drums. And you're like, oh fuck. But it's like the bass, like the production is so good on this that you should have a good pair of cans on, you sit there and listen to it, and you will follow, you can tune out the guitars and you can follow everything he's doing. And it's mind blowing that this guy can do that, not only live, but do the vocals as well that accompany it. I think, as a band, however many years into the career, you mentioned that at the beginning, on album number Five?
I think.
5. Album, no, that makes more sense. Album number 5, 17 years though.
16 years, 5 albums.
Could not have got these details more wrong if I tried. This is why I should pay attention. Like, so 16 years, 5 albums, right? So, like you do the math there. It's an album approximately every 3 years, but we've had a sizable chunk between albums here, and that's lineup changes and all the rest. Have Rivers and Nile released their best album in this one? I would say yes. I think this is the best thing the band's done today. I think it shows a re-energized, not that they needed it, more focused, more powerful sound, not that they needed it, that shows like more attuned, better focused songwriting, once again, not that they needed it. This is the most needless flex I've ever seen a band do in my entire life, because we're already at the top. And they've just come out and just shown that whatever we thought the top was, with the glass ceiling that existed above it, is there to be shattered. And if you're going to do that, you self-title the fucking name of the album and you just go for it. And yeah, front to back, this is one. It's not only one of the best progressive death metal albums I've heard, right? It's one of my favorite things I've heard this year. I think this is absolutely fucking great. Nice. This is end of year baby making material. You know what I mean? It's an album to shag to. That sax will force you to, you know. I still believe. It's in there, and it's just like, it's effortlessly good.
Yeah.
To the point that it almost becomes farcical, because you're listening and you're going, and that's when like a guitar solo shreds and you're like, just what? Wait, you feel like you want to do the Italian man being cut off in traffic hands. You know, it's absolutely fucking incredible.
Yeah. Okay.
I wonder what we'll score this.
I mean, scores. Like Where Owls Know My Name was probably still my favourite album. I loved the work. I thought the work was fucking brilliant. Owls, I still went back to more regularly. I think Rivers of Nile just released the album of their career. This is progressive death metal excellence, and for that, it's getting a 5 from me. Duncan, what's your score?
1 out of 5. Easy 5. This is absolutely incredible. As someone that has, since having seen them live, went through their back catalogue. This is their best album. 5 albums in, just churning out their best album. There's this old thing. Well, from now on, this is, you know, when people like, you know, when women talk about the black dress that they have that's just like suitable for all occasions. This album is I need something that's challenging, memorable, and just makes me feel fucking great listening from now on. This is the album I'll go to effortlessly. Not that the band will be able to use the tagline, "This is my little black dress album," but like, you know what I mean? It's that level of, if I ever hit play in this one, I know I'm about to be like spoiled for 50 minutes. Yeah. There's not one dip in quality at all across the whole fucking runtime. Everything is absolutely impeccable. I mean, like, I kind of feel like giving it 5 isn't enough. I kind of feel like I want to give it like a standing ovation, a lap of honor. I don't know. It's, I can't, like, once again, I always come back to this. Is it a jump? I think if you're a proper fan of Rivers and Nile, you're used to that progressive element, and they've eased you into the big jump that this one will take you. I can't imagine, if you're a fan of this band, you don't think this is the best thing you know, they've released, because it is just front to back. It's a like masterclass is a word. It's a masterclass in songwriting.
Rivers of Nile, new self-titled album, out May 30th on Metal Blade. Check out the links, check out the pre-order, check out the singles. I mean, you can stick some comments in, but I won't be changing my mind, because this is...
Stick some comments in, unless they are like, yes, I agree, then... chances are he won't do the usual thing where he puts a wee love heart and says, thanks, man, or whatever. You have a standard, like, kind of, Dave is acknowledging you've left a comment on this video comment, which I kind of love because, like, I'll tell you right now, I don't respond to anything that anyone posts on anything I do with us ever. It's giving it to the terrorists. Don't let the terrorists win, Dave.
Put the people first, Duncan. I put the people first. Yeah, thanks for checking out the review.
Oh, dear.
Much appreciated. We'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.